Hi, sixth graders. Happy Earth Day. Today's April 22nd, which is Earth Day. And yesterday I talked about plastic bags. And today, even though there's so many different things that we could focus on about ways to improve the earth and save the earth and keep the earth healthy, I'm going to talk about plastic again today because it is such a big issue and such a big problem that we are facing in the earth. And I'm going to talk today about single-use plastics. That is a word that I have heard a lot recently in the past couple of years. And single-use plastics mean just that. They are products that you buy in plastic that are meant to be used one time, a single time, single-use plastic. And I went through my house and just grabbed a few examples of single-use plastics. So any drink that you get in a plastic bottle, and I pulled a few that we have, are considered single-use plastics. So all of these drinks are in these plastic containers meant to drink and then get rid of the container. So single-use plastics. But it's more than just bottled water and drinks. There's so many different products that are packaged in plastic and meant to be used one time. So I pulled some other things like this bottle of honey, another plastic container. It's funny how when I was looking for examples of single-use plastics, I was noticing how durable and strong and hard some of this plastic is. And I compared it to, I'm sure you have plastic containers in your kitchen or your pantry that are meant to be used over and over, right? So like Tupperware and plastic containers that you might pack your lunches in, or someone at home might put leftovers in, put them in the fridge and reheat them the next day. Those are plastic too, but they are not meant to be single use. They're meant to be used over and over. But I was comparing some of those and they are even flimsier and thinner and less durable than some of these plastic containers. And so I think that's part of the problem is we are buying so many different products that are meant to be thrown out basically when you could definitely reuse them. So I'm going to give you some facts about single-use plastics, specifically bottles, and then ask that you think of ways to eliminate the use of these single-use plastics, recycle them, certainly if you're not going to reuse them, and ways to reuse them in a different way, maybe a way that they aren't necessarily meant to be used. This container, for example, it's great, sturdy, durable plastic. It has two different openings on the top. You could certainly reuse this in some way to store something else in when you're finished. Same way it goes with these. I have several of these that I am hanging on to reuse for something. I haven't decided yet. But so many of these containers can do something with. You can repurpose. You can paint them or cut them and come up with some pretty cool ways to avoid putting these in the trash, which ends up in the landfill. And like we talked about yesterday, even in the oceans. So I'm going to give you some facts about single-use plastics. 1 million plastic bottles around the world are bought every minute. Every minute. This video, I'm on 4 minutes. So in the past 4 minutes, 4 million plastic bottles were purchased. Isn't that crazy? So just something to think about, how many plastic bottles. And just me looking for just a couple examples, I could have pulled 10 times as many examples as what I have here because there are so many. Bottled water. Here we go. And I do have to, I bought it. I don't buy it just to drink. I put it in my Keurig. As you know, if you have seen me make it at school, our water tends to mess up our Keurig. I'm not sure what it is. So I have bottled water for the Keurig, but we drink water from our tap typically, or from the refrigerator water dispenser. But it takes 2,000 times as much energy to make bottled water as it does tap water. Tap water just being when you go to your sink and faucet and turn on the water. We talked about how long it takes for plastic bags to break down yesterday. And scientists think it can take anywhere from 500 to 1,000 years for one of these bottles of water or plastic bottles to break down. It's a long time that these would be around. And think about how many must be out there. I can take a walk from our house down to our barn, and it's amazing how many plastic bottles I see that people have thrown out of their vehicles. And unless those are picked up and recycled or reused, they could literally be there for up to 1,000 years, which is crazy. And just like plastic bags, these never go away completely. They're just gonna kind of start to degrade into smaller pieces. 1 gallon of bottled water costs 2,000 times more than a gallon of tap water. Obviously, most of us, if we have a well, don't really have to buy our water. Even if you have city water and you pay for your water, it's not nearly as much as bottled water costs. The amount of bottled water that is purchased every week in the United States could go around the entire earth 5 times just in the United States in 1 week. That's a lot of bottles. We unfortunately, Americans, throw away 35 billion plastic bottles every year. And that does say throw away. That does not say recycle or reuse or repurpose. So 35 billion of these bottles just in America are thrown away every year. I found this pretty interesting. In this bottle of water, and if you've ever stopped at a gas station to buy just a single bottle of water, it can be what, $1 or $2 probably. Inside this bottle, there is 4 cents worth of water. The amount of water in this bottle costs 4 cents. So you're paying for the plastic, which is destroying the environment. And the last fact I have for you is if you reuse drink containers, the average person can eliminate 100 disposable bottles a year. And if you remember at school in the water fountain right outside our room, it has that little number display that says how many bottles of water we've kind of saved by using those. So I thought that was pretty interesting. If you just get your own container and continue to refill it with water, you could save 100 of these bottles from ending up in the landfill or in the dump. So I just wanted you to think about these single-use plastics and think about how we can recycle them for sure or reuse them, because so many of these, like this jar, you would almost think it's glass. It's so strong. Why would I throw this away but keep a flimsy little Tupperware container just because it's sold to be reused? So I'm going to try to change my mindset about not throwing this away and saving it and reusing it for something else. Same way goes with some of these other containers. So my challenge for you today is to think about ways that you can do the same thing. I've got some activities for you to choose from about how to limit the number of plastics we are using, as well as what to do with them when we're finished with them so that they're no longer single-use plastics. So something to think about. Again, happy Earth Day. I hope you have a great Wednesday and enjoy coming up with unique ways of reusing this plastics. Talk to you soon. Bye.